So, what to do on a Saturday afternoon when the forecast is good and you've a long weekend stretching away in front of you? Well, for us, it was an impromptu trip through the New Forest to the beautiful south coast. You can see us here heading southwest along the M3 and then going west out along the M27. We then turned due south onto the A337. And the sun coming through was driving the dog mad, but we carried on and pushed on regardless of such distractions. Finally arriving in the beautiful New Forest, where of course there is a multitude of beautiful quaint little towns and villages and loads and loads and loads of beautiful wildlife. We passed herds of deer, and of course those amazingly world-renowned New Forest ponies. We decided to pull up at the side of the road for a dinner stop, and we found this beautiful little pull-in here near to Brockenhurst. We are on a tight budget, so we cooked food that we had with us and had a little beer with dinner as well, before pushing on, heading south into Milford on Sea. Now, as you can see, as we got closer to our destination, we were rapidly losing light. But we had been given the heads up about this beautiful spot that is free to use. It's on New Road in Milford on Sea, and it is a bit of a tight road, but you can do a loop. So if you go down along it and you can't quite find the right space, or you go past the best space, you can do a loop round through Keyhaven and back up and go at it again, or there is a car park at the end where you can turn around. This is a fantastic little find. There are multiple spots for everybody to use, as you can see here. The lower road off to our left is tidal, but we were here between full moon and new moon, so that means the tides are not particularly high and we were safe on the road. This is the location, SO41 OUQ. We awoke to a beautiful sunrise. First views out over our pitch were incredible. We had a great night's sleep. Everyone was very respectful. There was no loud noises, nobody being obnoxious. I did try and film sunrise here. Unfortunately, it's a bit shaky. I hadn't got my tripod with me, so apologies for that. But it was so beautiful. I wanted to include it for you guys to see. It's just such an incredible place here over the marshes. And after our morning cuppa, we decided to head round from our park to Hurst Castle, which is about a 2-mile walk out along a shingle bank called Hurst Spit. So we left the van and we took the dog and we walked out all that way. Beautiful skies, as you can see, there's very little cloud. It was really beautiful. Lots of people around here. This is just a look at where you can park. You can park up the road here or down on this tidal part, which is where we decided to camp out. There are some rules, so make sure, particularly with regards to beach use, that you know what you're doing. And just be safe and be considerate. There we are, parked up, beautiful reflection in the water as the tide was coming in all day. So we walked out to Hurst Castle. This is a 16th century castle built by Henry VIII, updated in the 19th century by Queen Victoria. There's also a couple of lighthouses on the Spit, the Grey Lighthouse and the High Lighthouse. And there are also incredible views out to the Isle of Wight, which is about 1 kilometre across the water here. And you can also see right round to the Needles. This was a very clear day. It's well worth the walk. If for any reason you can't do the walk, there is a boat that goes from Key Haven to the Hurst, and that's £4 each or £7 return. So if walking, particularly on that loose shingle, is not for you, then you can get the ferry. Entry to the castle is £4 for adults and £2 for children, and it's well worth the trip. Unfortunately for us, we just didn't have the money to afford going in, so we just looked around the outside. But they do also encourage you to bring your dogs along, so it's very dog friendly, which is always a bonus for us. After that big long walk, and being as we hadn't spent any money today, we decided to pool our 15 quids and treat ourselves to fish and chips at the lighthouse. We then took this back to the van and enjoyed a fantastic sunset with a glass of fizz. Fish and chips was £10.50 each, which is quite expensive, but it is a fantastic restaurant and it was a really nice meal. And then we treated ourselves to ice creams as well. So it came to £14 each, which is almost our entire daily allowance, but we hadn't spent anything else, so we felt that we could indulge. We then just kicked back and watched the beautiful sunset before heading off to bed. So I just thought that I would show you this beautiful sunrise. What an amazing light display. This is day 2. We are heading home, but I wanted to also include this little video of the lane. So if you carry on past where we parked up, some real friendly locals, everybody, you know, is aware of what's going on. There are some double yellow lines on the corners. This is obviously for safety, so don't park on the double yellows, park in the places where it says you can. This lane obviously too narrow to park along double yellows all the way along this, little passing places, and when people park in them, it just creates an unsafe environment for all, and then the councils get pissed off with us parking there, and then it's then removed for everybody. So if you carry on to the end of this lane, and you'll see when we get there, There's 2 car parks on the right hand side as you're coming up from this angle. They are paid, but we were already warned to come late on in the day, which is why we arrived at nightfall on the first day, because all the day trippers go home and you can get yourself a parking space. If you get there a bit earlier, go up to the car park and park, pay a little bit in the car park, and then bring your vehicle down once everybody's started to go home at the end of the day. An absolutely fantastic place, total spend for this weekend. And remember, we did have that very indulgent fish and chips as being 45 quid for 3 days. Win-win.